We're honoured, truly honoured, to have you all here tonight for the US Kurdistan Partnership and to celebrate our heroic Peshmarga forces. The forces who, with the support of the US-led coalition and the cooperation of the Iraqi army, defeated ISIS. 8 years ago, on August 3rd, ISIS began its genocide against the Yazidis. It had already targeted the Christians and many other communities, but it saved its worst abuses for the Yazidis, who were killed and enslaved en masse. We are proud that with the support of the United States, the coalition, our proud Peshmarga defended a 1,000-kilometer front line against ISIS and allowed Kurdistan region to be a safe haven for all of those who were fleeing ISIS's genocide. All of that was made possible thanks to American leadership and to Kurdish bravery. It was made possible by the support that was provided to the Peshmarga and the Iraqi military. It was made possible by the United States creating a global coalition that 7-8 years later is not only continuing to exist, but actually is increasing in the number of partners who are determined to defeat terrorism. On behalf of President Nechirvan Barzani and Prime Minister Masroor Barzani, I would like to thank all Americans who made that support possible. The people of America, the Congress of America, the State Department, the White House, every agency of the United States, but most of all, the Department of Defense. You have been our solid partners, and we're proud of that partnership. But I'm also delighted to say that the partnership is not purely a security one. We also have commercial ties, and we're trying to deepen our cultural ties. I mentioned the US Kurdistan Business Council. We also work closely with the US Chamber of Commerce. We thank all of those companies that have invested in the Kurdistan region and that have stood by us through various challenges, including the invasion of ISIS across 1/3 of Iraq. Those companies stood by us. They stand by us today as we face a different kind of challenge, and we thank them also. We're also trying to establish sister city programs with some of the cities in the United States, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we will be able to establish a sister city between Erbil and Nashville, which is known as Little Kurdistan in America for being the home to the largest Kurdish population here. Going back to our security partnership, I must thank Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Dana Stroul, who is here, and her excellent team at the Department of Defense for their hospitality in welcoming His Excellency Minister Shoresh Ismail and his delegation, who have been here in Washington this week. You welcomed all of us very warmly to the Pentagon, and we had some very good, open, and productive discussions. We thank you, and we look forward to continuing this cooperation in the future. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to recognize some dear friends who are here and esteemed guests. Of course, His Excellency Shoresh Ismail, the Minister of Peshmarga Affairs, General Isa Uzair, who is the equivalent of the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mr. Ahmad Othman, who is the acting Chief of Staff to President Barzani, the Commander-in-Chief. I was going to make you the Commander-in-Chief, that's why I stumbled. Acting Chief of Staff to President Barzani. Niaz Barzani, Head of the Diplomatic Affairs at the Presidency, and Rawa Burhan from the Kurdistan Region Security Council. You're all very welcome here to Washington. I would also like to welcome our friends and esteemed colleagues from the Iraqi Embassy who have joined us this evening, especially Mr. Salwan Sanjari, who is the chargé d'affaires. I would like to welcome our friends from the State Department, the White House, the NSC, Congress, and all of you dear friends who have joined us, especially from the Kurdish American community. Finally, I would like to recognize Jim Hake, CEO of Spirit of America, and your team who have joined us this evening, and Bonnie Carroll, the founder and president of TAPS. Just 2 words about Spirit of America and TAPS. Spirit of America is an NGO, but you have done such excellent work supporting the Peshmarga, and we really want to appreciate what you and your team has done. Also, TAPS, we know, Bonnie, that you're like a guardian angel for the families of American fallen soldiers. We share in your sorrow for the fallen, and we appreciate what you do for their families and what you do to connect them with us in Kurdistan and Iraq. I must stop so that I can allow Dana to get a word in edgeways. So thank you all again, and a very, very warm welcome. And now I would like to invite Ms. Dana Struhl, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, to come and deliver her speech. Thank you all.
Good evening, distinguished guests and esteemed colleagues. Thank you for that kind introduction, Bayan, and for organizing this important event. It is an honor to be with you all tonight representing the Department of Defense as we recognize the Iraqi Kurdistan region's Peshmerga forces. The partnership between our armed forces and indeed our 2 people is both long-standing and essential. For decades, the U.S. military has worked closely with the Peshmerga in support of the security and stability of the Kurdistan region, Iraq, and the broader Middle East. And I will say here, I actually started my career in the Department of Defense a long time ago, working on Iraq and the Kurdistan region. My first trip to the Kurdistan region was with then Secretary of Defense Bob Gates. And he sat with then President Masoud Barzani. And I knew then the importance and the longevity of this partnership based on shared commitment to security, achievements for both of our people, for the Middle East, for dignity and for humanity. And of course, time and time again, we have worked together in partnership, shared objectives, and a common vision. And that vision is grounded in opposition to tyranny and terrorism, and aligned in commitment to human dignity and the right of all to seek a better future. And I have seen successive secretaries of defense come to Erbil because they know the importance of our partnership with the Peshmerga, our partnership with the Kurdistan regional government, and with the Kurdish people. Today, I want to take a moment to reflect on the tremendous achievements in our shared fight to defeat Daesh. Since 2014, the U.S.-led coalition supported Iraq's fight against Daesh, carrying out thousands of airstrikes. Together, we liberated more than 50,000 square kilometers from the control of Daesh, including critical infrastructure and population centers in the Kurdistan region. Together, we freed more than 4.5 million Iraqis from Daesh terror and provided our Kurdish partners with recovery and stabilization support. I am pleased to be joined tonight by colleagues from the State Department and USAID and the National Security Council because their work is essential to ensuring Daesh's enduring defeat. We in this room know that the military instruments of power are essential, but limited in their ability to achieve lasting and sustainable effect if not coupled with civilian skills, resources, and leadership. So I know what Bayan said about the importance of business, economy, cultural exchange, and ties between people. This is how we will address the underlying conditions of Daesh that allowed it to thrive. Although Daesh no longer holds territory, the group remains capable of terrorizing the citizens of Iraq and the region. The United States is committed to continuing to support our partners, including the Peshmerga, even as the Defeat Daesh mission evolves. Today, U.S. forces will remain in Iraq at the invitation of the Iraqi government in an advise, assist, and enable role, a transition made possible because of the tremendous progress achieved by the Iraqi security forces and the Peshmerga forces in advancing their capabilities to now be in the lead for this fight. These achievements include reform efforts that continue to advance the professionalization of the Peshmerga forces and will set the conditions for the long-term success of the Ministry of Peshmerga under the excellent leadership of His Excellency Minister Shoresh Ismail. On this occasion, I also want to offer my condolences and deep appreciation for the tremendous sacrifices made by members of the Peshmerga who gave their lives in the fight to defeat Daesh. The United States is cognizant of the cost of this victory to the Peshmerga, their families, and the people of the Kurdistan region. We at the Department of Defense are proud of the progress we have achieved together, a testament to our partnership and to the Peshmerga forces, and to our shared work to uphold our values of freedom and security. I want to wish the esteemed delegation, and especially Minister Ismail, a productive and fulfilling time in Washington, D.C. We spent a good deal of time together this week with you and your esteemed delegation, and I know the rest of the audience here will equally benefit from getting to hear from you on how much we've achieved together and our shared goal and vision for what we can achieve together in the future. This special partnership between the Kurdistan Regional Government and the United States, and especially between the Department of Defense and the Ministry of Peshmerga, is one rooted in mutual respect and shared values. I'd like to acknowledge again that partnership tonight and thank you for your commitment to strengthening it. We have accomplished much together, and there is much more we intend to do. We look forward to working alongside you as we have in years before and for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. We appreciate your words and your support and your commitment to the partnership. And now I would like to invite Minister Shoresh Ismail, the Minister of Peshmerga Affairs, to deliver his remarks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to all of you. Welcome Ms. Dana Stroll from the Department of Defense. Welcome Mr. Salwan Sanjari from the Iraqi Embassy in Washington. Welcome Mr. David Fury from the US KBC. Welcome all friends. It's an honor to be here in America, in Washington, and to be with all of you this evening. Thank you, Ms. Dana Stroll, for your kind words and your message. We agree with you. We have a strategic partnership together. The Peshmerga, the Iraqi army, the United States, and the coalition together, we defeated Daesh and we ended their fake Khalifa. At the Ministry of Peshmerga Affairs, we see every day why this partnership is so important. The fight against Daesh is not finished. With the advice of American and coalition force, we are able to keep fighting against Daesh terrorists who want to come back and create terror again. And with the help of American advisor and multinational advisor, we are making reform at our ministry. Here in Washington, we had many good meetings, especially with you, Ms. Dana Stroll, and your team at the Pentagon. We also had meeting with the member of Congress at USIP, and tomorrow we look forward to meeting at the White House and State Department. We thank all of you, and we want to celebrate our partnership with you, and we look forward to welcoming you all to Kurdistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I think we should actually give the Minister another round of applause for doing the speech in English so that he would save you time for translation. Thank you. And now it's a great honor to invite the Chargé d'Affaires at the Iraqi Embassy, Mr. Salwan Sanjari. You're very welcome, as are all of our esteemed colleagues from the embassy. Farmu.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for the KRG office in Washington, D.C., Bayan Khan and her team here. Actually, personally, I would like to thank that this is my first chance to meet my friends even from the Kurdish community here in D.C., and also to give me the chance to reaffirm and be glad to see the delegation from Ministry of Peshmarga again in Washington, D.C. This means that we still have that coordination and working together with the American friends. I think the battle against ISIS still continuous, and we hear like many news or bad news that there is many ISIS group. They try to have again groups against our Iraqi forces and against our people. Again, I would like to say that our people in Iraq always proud for the partnership and continuous working and coordination between the Iraqi forces and the American forces. We've been fighting ISIS together, shoulders to shoulders between the Iraqi forces and the US Army. There was sacrifice from both sides. And just yesterday, it was the anniversary of the Yazidi genocide. That sad event, and always we remember these days in Sinjar and other areas in Iraq. And I think and I believe that we need to continue working together to avoid such a tragedy like the Sinjar or the genocide of the Yazidis or others in Tel Afar and other areas in Iraq. So always, I think, even if there is any misunderstanding between Erbil or Baghdad, we work together in negotiation to solve all the problems between Baghdad and Erbil. But here in Washington, D.C., we work together. I'm proud that I can work in coordination with the KRG office in Washington. Our coordination here is very important. Our battle is still continuous against ISIS. We need that support from the United States, and we are looking forward for more coordination and to get the final defeat for ISIS and other terrorist groups. As we heard like a couple of days before that, there was a great achievement by the United States forces to kill Ayman al-Zawahiri. So we celebrated together as with our friends in the United States. He was enemy of everyone. He's an enemy of Iraq and as well enemy of the United States. So thank you again, thank you all, and looking forward to work with Bayan Khan and her team, and good luck for His Excellency, the Minister of Peshmarga. We're looking forward to work together also, and our doors always open at the embassy to cooperate. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you all coming today to honor the minister and the delegation from Kurdistan. We are really happy to have a delegation from Kurdistan. This is the first high-level delegation from the Kurdistan region since the pandemic, and we hope we'll have many more. I just want to thank one of our members of the U.S. Kurdistan Business Council, the Kuderi Group, for helping to sponsor this lovely event. I want to recognize former U.S. Military General Barbero, an old friend of the U.S. Kurdistan Business Council. Thank you for coming, General. And I hope we didn't miss anyone else. And I just want to leave the room with this message. Iraq constantly faces crises, and we're in another crisis again. And I think we should all remember that resolving the crises in Iraq requires fidelity to the Constitution. The 2005 Constitution, of which all of the main parties and stakeholders in Iraq had a major part, and the U.S. government also helped with supporting the constitutional process, holds the solutions for Iraq. And in particular, I just want to also recognize that the Constitution specifically mentions that the Kurdistan region may have its own security forces. That's in Article 121 of the Iraq Constitution. And we hope that will never come into question, given the performance and the sacrifices that the Peshmarga have made on behalf of the Kurdistan region and Iraq and for global security in terms of fighting Daesh. So thank you, Mr. Minister, and thank you to all of the Peshmarga. We greatly appreciate that. Zor spas.